In activity 3.01, I'm going to demonstrate how to create a form, and I'm going to navigate to my desktop where I downloaded the data file. So let's go desktop, and this one we're going to, for this exercise, we're going to use A03A underscore students underscore majors. That's the database name, and there's two tables in there, one called students, one called majors. Now, let's go to the Backstage View and show you something that the book is doing. Let's say save database as, and let's let me navigate here to documents, and I'm going to create a new folder called Access Chapter 3. And I'm just demonstrating this because in exercise activity 301 they show you how to do this. And you double click on that, and now you're in the newly created folder called Access Chapter 3. And here we want to do the usual last name, first name. A little slow today. 3A, students, majors. It saves it as a .accdb, as we can see here, and just save that off and enable content. Now, go to external data. Let's take a look at go to database tools. Let's look at the relationships. And you'll see that majors and students are related on major ID. It's one to many, which means that for a unique record in majors, you can have many students that have that major. Okay, I'm going to close this, and now I'm going to select but not open students. I'm going to go create. I'm going to click on form, and it automatically looks at the underlying fields and it creates a form, and it pulls up the first record. Notice there's 101 records here, and it just lines everything up. It doesn't do anything fancy, but this is what's called layout view. And in layout view, it shows you what the form looks like, but it also shows the data coming through. So we can actually click next, 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 and see it update the data. We can click to the very last. Now we're at 101. We can go backwards. And so in layout view, it shows us that data coming through the form. Now let's go ahead and save this form. Say, yeah, I want to save it, and it's the same scenario. Last name, last name, I'll use spaces now. First name, 3A students, just like they do. Make it a little easier to type. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to click on majors. I'm going to click on form, and notice here that we get the parent table of majors, and then we get down here what's called a sub datasheet view. We get the students, and if you remember when we were in database tools and relationships, it showed us that majors, this one, was related one to many to students, this one. So let me close this, and so notice when I create a form for majors, Access knows about that relationship, and it gives us the parent majors table and the child or the students table, and it shows all the students that relate to this particular major. Now you can click next, next. This one has no majors, no emergency medical technicians right now. Paramedic, just one. No critical care, human services, 3. You can jump to the end, you can work your way backwards, so on and so forth. So let's close this and let's name it, and we'll call this one last name. space first name space 3 A majors and say OK. Now let's close the database, and that ends this exercise.